Welcome home and welcome to Base. Alrighty, Limone, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what you're building and what is Builder's Garden.
Yeah, I'm Limone from Rome, Italy, currently in Lisbon. I've been building in crypto and Web3 for 3 years now, running a community in Rome and workshops, meetups, hackathons, all for onboarding developers. And I'm also a builder myself, so I've been to many hackathons. And out of all these hackathons, we started, our own product studio. So within the community, we gathered 7 people actually, and we're now building together on a daily basis, mostly on Farcaster and Base. So I'm always excited to share my knowledge and experience with other builders out there, because I think sometimes you get scared while building crypto. You feel like it's too much, too complex, too much like going on in general, too much to learn, but in the end, you just gotta keep the pace, and
And people
and
like
I hope,
so much to share.
yeah, and I hope I can help somebody along their journey.
100%. I mean, it's true. You've helped us along our journey, and you'll probably help a lot more. So I'm glad to have you here, and super glad to have you presenting today. So if you'd like to start sharing
Yeah,
your screen, I'll add it to the stage, and
yes,
then I'll let you get into it. I'm going to
cool.
remove my camera as well, so that way people can focus on you. And
Can
the
you?
floor is yours. Welcome
Cool.
home, welcome to base.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Amazing.
I'll be here
So
the whole time, so if anything happens, I can fix it.
perfect. So building on chain apps. So first of all, yeah, I guess I missed some thank you and appreciation for you, Luciano, and Homebase in general. I really love what you guys are building, and I'm glad I'm also kind of involved in this. I love community building, and workshops like these are great, especially when preparing for a build-up. So the goal of today is like I really wanted to show. Um, my go-to stack, let's say, for building an on-chain application, especially when it comes to hackathons. Like you don't need much, boilerplate code. You need a web framework. You need social login, hopefully, and we're gonna do it with Privy, wallet connection to WAGMI, and finally, if you wanna give a little twist, user experience twist, let's say we can use smart wallets to abstract some complexity away, which is common for you know on-chain app to be maybe complex to use, but with smart wallets we can simplify it. So I guess I already introduced myself. Um, I will skip the slides and let's get into this simple scheme. I mean, just to give you a brief of agenda of what I'm going to do, just like introducing you to the stack that I'm using, and then actually showing you a starter template that I prepared for this workshop that you can then use for the hackathon or for any other project that you'd like to start building. So we'll be using Next.js as a front-end framework. Sorry, Samuel, I know that you don't like Next.js, but if you're watching this, don't bother me, please. So Next.js, I like it a lot because it allows you to build full stack applications, both on the client side and server side. It's easy to deploy on Vercel. So when you're at an hackathon, it's always good to have an hosted version of your project that you can showcase to people around, to sponsors, and to judges. And so Next.js is probably, like, to me at least, the fastest way to build a full stack application, interact with databases, and deploy and try the app on your mobile phone if it's something mobile responsive. It's my go-to framework, definitely. Privy, we're going to use it Privy again for authentication and wallets. Um, Privy is also like a project that or SDK and toolkits that I've been using a lot because they made so easy to onboard even Web2 users on your app. They also allow, I mean, like wallet connection, of course, but I think it's great to include Podcaster login, Google login, Twitter login, like any kind of this. It's very useful for many apps where you want to onboard, non-crypto native audience. WAGMI then is another like let's say core an important tool for any on-chain project in my opinion when it comes to client-side applications because WAGMI is a set of libraries, hooks compatible with React, so with also Next.js, but as well as and many other frameworks. And with WAGMI, we can easily send transactions to the blockchain and read the blockchain status. So we can interact with the smart contract, but we can also read smart contract data. And finally, we're going to interact with a base blockchain, and that's happening through WAPI. Then as I mentioned, like I wanted to play around a little bit with smart wallets, and so let's get into the main differences between embedded wallets and smart wallets. Because with Privy, what happens? So when your user doesn't have a crypto wallet because they log in with a Gmail account, with Twitter, with Farcaster, Privy generates an embedded wallet for your user. So within your application, your user will have a new wallet generated for the occasion, and they will be able to use that wallet to interact with any on-chain logic that you build. And this embedded wallet actually acts as an externally owned account. Externally owned accounts are much like MetaMask or your Rabi wallet or Rainbow, whatever you like, even Coinbase wallet, of course. And so they are, as you know, they are limited in terms of like control and customization of like things that you can do. And that's why smart wallet exists. Smart wallets, instead of being externally owned accounts, they are directly powered by on-chain smart contracts. And this means that they offer advanced programmabilities because with smart contracts, you can build custom logics like social recovery, setting spending limits, authorizing transactions only after a certain threshold of signatures, any kind of plugin that you think. And another cool thing is about gas sponsorship. So a big problem with embedded wallets is that whenever somebody gets into your app with an embedded wallet, their wallet is empty. And so if you are asking them to execute a transaction, they have no gas, no ether, and they don't even know what's ether, and so it's kind of like difficult and also add steps, some friction when it comes to starting to use your application. Of course, you can like try to fix it up with an ramping step, but that's also adding friction. And so with thanks to smart wallets, what happens is that your users can still execute transactions because you can sponsor gas fees for them. And so when it comes to minting an NFT, interacting with a smart contract, instead of being them um, paying for the gas emitter, it's you with your account. And there's a bunch of services, including like the Coinbase Paymaster, that allows you to easily sponsor gas fees for users. And the cool thing about these smart wallets is that they can still be controlled by an EOA. So you give your users an embedded wallet, and finally you generate a smart wallet that they will use um, to interact with your application. So that's it for the slides. Let's move into something more practical. Let's say. Oh, oops. What's okay? No, what's full screen? Sorry. Okay. So this is a simple template that I built. I can log out so that you see the overall experience. Let me log in with my email. I'm just like showing you first like how this prototype works, and then we'll go like step by step on how I implemented it and on how you can customize it. So I just received an email um, entering the verification code, and I'm inside the app. So as soon as I'm inside the app, on the right side of the screen, I'll see these two tabs, embedded wallets and smart wallets. So I built these like templates to allow you understanding like the differences between the two, and also implementing the same logic with these two possible approaches, so that you also understand on the like really on the code how it works to interact with the blockchain with an embedded wallet and with a smart wallet. So in this case, let's start with the embedded wallets. We are connected to base Sepolia. We can also like switch our connected chain here, and we have a embedded wallet that has been generated by Privy. So this is my address, this is my balance in Ethereum, and this is my balance in USDC on base Sepolia. If you don't have USDC Sepolia on base Sepolia, oh, sorry, USDC on base Sepolia, you can use this faucet. Like it's pretty easy. You go here, select USDC, base Sepolia, and you place your wallet. Yes. So I will soon have 11 USDC probably. With this wallet, what I can do, I can sign messages and I can execute a transaction. The transaction that I implemented in this case is a simple USDC transfer. So I want to sign a test message. Craig is asking me to confirm, and the message has been signed here. Then, if I want to send one USDC, so let's try to send, for example, USDC to my smart wallet. So I want to send one USDC. I paste the smart wallet address here. I click send. And Privy is asking me to confirm the transaction. There are some fees, of course, like negligible because we are on base Sepolia, but still, I'm approving the transaction. Hold on. And so on the other side, maybe let me refresh. Okay, yeah, I have 10 USDC here because I had like 9 USDC before. So I correctly received. If we go on base Sepolia, lock scout, we can check what happened here. Token transfers. And you can see, as you can see here, I sent one USDC to my smart wallet address. If I do the same, let's try doing the same with smart wallet. You'll notice something interesting. So I won't try like the sign, but let's send that USDC back. So one USDC. Oh, sorry, still base volume. Okay. As you can see here, I'm using the smart wallet, so no gas fees. The transaction is going to be sponsored, and it's like kind of the same transfer. But it is taking like little more in this case. Cool. And so I have back like the USDC on my base Sepolia address, as you can see. So how does it work behind the scenes? Let's get into the code, and then I will also show how to set up your like privy account in a way that I mean it's cool because you can customize like the login options if you want to use Google, Twitter, Farcaster. You can customize even customize if you want to show users that model for two transactions, because in the case of embedded wallets, of course, they always need to approve, given that there's some gas that they need to spend. In the case of smart wallets, you are abstracting away uh, the gas fees, so you can when sending USDC can even be like just a simple code. So let's get into the code and how it works. Um, it's a standard like Next.js template with a application folder, so app router version. We have a layout here, and in the layout, I instantiated like a preview provider with my application ID. It's inside m.local, and some configuration. So I can configure a theme, color. I can configure like if I want to create embedded wallets for all the users or for only some of them. like the ones that are connecting with the wallets. Maybe they don't need an embedded wallet. And then I'm also connecting to Base Sepolia as a default chain, but also declaring Base as an option that I want to connect. Then if I want to support also like previous smart wallets, I'm using the smart wallets provider. And finally, we have the query client and WAGMI provider. And this is needed to actually, again, interact with the blockchain. There's a cool guide, on how set this up with Privy. So if you go on Privy and you look for WAGMI, docs.privy.io, you end up within this page. And this page, like basically, like it explains you how to integrate Privy, actually install Privy, and it's like WAGMI library, WAGMI as well, and explains you how to integrate it, and that's exactly what I did. So Privy provider, Query client, and then WAGMI provider. Then we have like a simple page. This simple page is divided in two columns. So we have on the left, we have an header, and on this header, I have the login button. So Privy comes with also with a set of React hooks that allows me to log in the user, log out the user. And you can see how I would use the here. So I can check with use Privy if the Privy SDK is ready, if the user is authenticated, and then I can also call a logout function. And then if I use login, I can call the login function. So what happens here is that I'm simply checking if the Privy SDK is ready, but the user is not authenticated. In that case, I want to show the Start Now button to log in. Otherwise, I want to show the Logout button. And getting back to it, now it's in authenticated state, so we have the Logout button. Yeah, and finally, some links. By the way, I will share all these links later in the chat. That's also a GitHub repository, open source, that you can, for sure, like fork, remix, whatever. So let's get back to the page. We have the second column. On the second column, what we have. So if there's no user, because I can fetch the user object at any time. So let me show you. If I log this one, if I log user, we can check what we have in the user object. Yeah, bunch of errors. Mm, why it's not logging in? Okay, user. So in this user object, we have data about the user, like the email that they used, the linked accounts, and in this case, I can fetch. This is the embedded wallet address. This is the smart wallet address. It's also telling me the smart wallet type. So in this case, I'm using Coinbase Smart Wallet, and this can be configured by the Privy dashboard, of course. But you can also fetch information around Spotify, Telegram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever like login method you picked. So it's a very like useful object in this case. And what I'm saying here is that if there's no user, I'm showing like an empty column. Otherwise, like let's show the tabs. So the embedded wallets tab or the smart wallet one. Let's go in the embedded wallets first, which is like simpler. So getting back to this page, we have a chain component where I can switch between base Sepolia and base. I have the embedded wallet address that I can copy, and then two operations. So how does it work first, like the chain switch? So first of all, to get the current chain, I need to get the embedded wallet record. And this happens through another hook by Privy, which is called use wallets. You can import it like this, use wallets from Privy React out. And when it gets populated, so when it changes in this use effect, I'm looking for within the set of wallets connected to the current user, I'm looking for the one that is of connector type embedded, and I'm saving it in the application state. Once that's done, I'm also getting the current chain ID because for within the embedded wallet object, I also have the chain ID. doing as like a simple replace here as it comes with a EIP 155 standard. So this is the current chain ID. When it comes to switching, what we have here, so connected to, and then I'm showing a label. So the label can be if I'm connected to like chain ID equal to base Sepolia ID, and this is coming from VM, I'm showing base Sepolia. Otherwise, I'm showing base, and that's also what happens when I'm switching between chains. So whenever I'm switching, I'm looking for a new target chain. So the new target chain should be it's like a toggle. So if the current chain is base, then the target chain where I want to switch, and I'm calling the switch chain function here, is base Sepolia ID. Otherwise, it's base ID, and this is how I'm switching between one chain and another. Then we have a bunch of other components. So wallet info is like very simple. Is reading the balance, the Ethereum balance on the current chain for the embedded wallet, as well as reading the USDC balance. And this is when where WAGMI comes in. So WAGMI allows me to import use balance and use read contract. And these functions here, they, again, passing the embedded wallet address and the chain. This is returning me the embedded Ethereum balance. And this one instead is reading a contract because, like, for the Ethereum balance, there's a standard function. For this one, we need to read a custom contract. And this is particularly useful to understand how to use it, because you can use, like, I'm sure, I mean, like when building an on-chain application, you'll have multiple occasions where you need to read um, the on-chain status of a smart contract. So what I'm doing here is passing the ABI of the smart contract, and this is an RC20 ABI. It's coming from VM library. I'm passing also the address of the contract. So base Sepolia USDC address, of course, is different from the base USDC address. And again, I'm using the chain ID to distinguish which address to pass. And then when it comes to reading the balance of a specific token on chain, we need to call balance of, which is part of the RC20 standard. Um, Finally, chain ID and then an argument. And the only argument that we need to pass in this case is embedded wallet address. So in this case, I'm reading the balance of embedded wallet address on base Sepolia USDC or base USDC. And this data, I'm showing it on the application. So you can find it here. I'm also using a bunch of functions to format it, because I can probably like simply log them. So embedded ETH balance and embedded USDC balance. So that I show like they are returning in a big number format, so they are not really readable at first. I don't know why it usually takes a while. It takes a while to show the logs. Hmm. Yeah, it's not showing logs for some reasons. Come on. Okay, yeah, it's kind of slow. But yeah, as you can see, embedded if balance, in this case, it's zero. I'm on base, zero hen. This means like big number. And the same goes for embedded USDC balance, zero in big number format. If I switch chain, we see something different. Embedded it balance is this way long number, and that's why probably even here I need to format it better. But also the USDC balance is 1.10000n, and this is because USDC has like 6 decimals positions, and these functions that I'm using here, format header and format units, allows me to in the case of USDC, I'm saying, okay, like this USDC balance is a big number with 6 decimals, so format it accordingly, and it comes back as 11 USDC. Yeah, let's move on to the next component. So we have a sign message component, and this is using the previous decay to sign a message. So we have a simple button, I mean, like an input field, of course, and then a button to sign. The button to sign message, is calling this function, handle sign message, and is calling the sign message function coming from the privy hook called use sign message. And this is returning a result. The result contains signature, and this is what I'm showing here. So when I sign here and then showing the signature, I can also copy it. I mean, not useful to paste in here, but just to show you the results. And you can use it to verify any kind of messages on chain as well. This is a very simple component to sign. And finally, we get to the USDC transaction. So USDC transaction instead is using still like the um, again, like reading the USDC balance to make sure that the user has enough balance to transfer. And finally, um, triggering the transaction thanks to the previous decay. Previous decay, again, in this case, the function uses send transaction. So end of send transaction is getting the correct USDC address. It's encoding the transfer data. So kind of like in a similar way we did for the read contract of the USDC balance, we are calling a new function, and this function is called transfer. It gets the recipient address where I want to transfer and the amount. And this encoded function data is what the previous SDK is expecting. Once we send the transaction, we have an hash, and we, thanks to this snippet here, the public client, we can easily wait for it and make sure that the status, set is sending transaction like is getting to false only when the transaction has been actually completed. Because if you call this is just awaiting that the transaction is submitted to the blockchain, while if we call also this, we are actually waiting that the transaction gets settled on chain. And this is implemented here again with buttons and also transaction. And just to wrap it up before moving to some, like documentation and links that I wanted to show you, let's get into the smart wallets and how it's like similar but also like different somehow. Because the SDK, of course, is the same, but we are calling functions in a different way. So when it comes to the smart wallet section, as you remember, like the first component we've seen for the embedded wallets was about the chain. So how are we managing the chain state in the case of a smart wallet? So first of all, we are still getting the smart wallet um, in the use effect as in the other component. We are looking for the smart wallet account type in this case. And then when it comes to switching the chain, we want to use the client object. The client object is coming from the use smart wallets React hook from Preview. So we get the chain ID, client get chain ID, and then we do the usual toggle logic. So if the current chain ID is base, then we switch to base Sepolia, otherwise we go to base. And then we finally execute the switch chain operation function. So then right here we have a smart sign message doing the same thing of the embedded wallet component, but just using the client that is the smart wallet client coming from here. So this client here has a method for client dot sign message as well as a method to send transaction. So to sign a message with embedded wallet, you use a specific hook, while in the case of a smart wallet, we call the sign message within the smart wallet client. And it does the same exact, like returns still a signature. When it comes for a transaction instead, I mean, we are still reading the contract and the balance in the same way, because in the end, the smart wallet is a smart contract owning some token. So it doesn't change anything on that side. But when it comes to sending the transaction as well. Instead of calling just the send transaction function, let me show you just real quick. In the USDC transaction, we were calling plain send transaction, and it's coming from use send transaction. In the smart wallet side, instead, we have the client and we call send transaction. And this is abstracting away all the logic for sponsoring gas fees as well. Super powerful. But let me show you how it can really be magic. So this is my privy dashboard. Um, and there's a tab around smart wallet. So actually, let's take a step back. So you can have a bunch of applications around here. You can create a new one, add a name. It can be like client side, Privy SDK, but you can also have a backend side. Let's go into this application. This is the starter that I created. You have a smart wallets stuff tab, actually. You can set up different smart wallets. In this case, it's Coinbase. And then you can configure like a paymaster to sponsor gas fees for your users. And this is described within, this is the repository I just built and showed you as a bunch of like documentation in the README, as well as like links for you to check. There's one particularly useful about paymaster. So if I get like this link, no, sorry. Yes. I want to open this here. This is like explaining you how to create a Coinbase developer like platform account. I guess I can sign in with mine. Yes. And if I go on chain tools, paymaster, configuration, I can get like this URL. And this URL for the paymaster and the bundler, I can paste in here. So quick setup, I select paste, I paste the URL, and it goes here. And then there's like another cool toggle that we can make. So let me show you around a little bit. You can customize, like UI, colors. I need to find a specific toggle for setting transaction approvals. Email transfer. Yeah, like disable confirmation models or activating confirmation models. This is currently disabled, so I don't know why it's still showing the modals. But what should happen is that whenever I'm sending a transaction from my smart wallet to the, oops, probably I need to set it up here on the providers. Disable, no, Dapps preview, confirmation, configuring wallet confirmation models. Okay, show wallet UIs false. If I set this one, let me restart the application just in case. It should be like it should be like magic, like we're used to. People are actually used to interact with web application, mobile application without seeing where confirmation models, and thanks to smart wallets, we can really achieve this type of um, yeah. What's up here? We can really achieve this experience. So I'm not sure what did I do wrong here. It's probably not refreshing right. Okay. So let's see. Let me try sending some base support again. And this goes also for embedded wallet. So you remember in the beginning, it was asking me like approval within a model. In this case, it's happening behind the scenes. If I go here, I have now again like 10 USDC. I can send it back. So let's send through. And yeah, it's like it's like magic. So again, I have this, and I will share this in the chat. Maybe Luciano, you can share this as well. Um,
Yes,
Builders
yeah.
Builders Garden Next.js pre-starter. Um, there's a bunch of documentation, even some like Next UI documentation component that you can use for cool UI. Authentication as well on how to integrate Privy, stuff about smart wallets, transactions, description about all the components that I just showed you. Um, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Let me have a look at the Privy dashboard if I need to show you something
What I
else
would
important.
suggest, Limone, is maybe go through the slides one more time quickly, just so people could see if they have any questions. And then we'll see if we have any questions. If there's no questions, then maybe just give a quick demo that represents a little bit about what you're talking about today. And I think that would be perfect.
Yeah. Let me show first some stuff about
Please.
Preview. I wanted to show how to set up authentication. Yes. So if you go on user authentication, you can set up like different providers. In this case, that's only Google Forecaster, and I can show you again here. So Google Forecaster and then wallet. Um, I can decide to include Telegram as well as Twitter. Oh, Telegram is requiring a bot. Sorry, I don't have a bot right now. So let's add Twitter. And I can also add SMS, probably. Yes. SMS, other socials, Twitter, and Farcaster. So it's also like very responsive. You can also have like multi-factor authentication as well as bunch of other how much like the session should last for. Um, and then there's also like options for on ramping. I didn't show these, but it's not a common use case, but you can possibly like have an embedded wallet and an easy on ramp fee on ramp process with Coinbase on ramp. Let me get back to the slides again. Quick rundown. So Next.js is our web framework. So this is where it's living. This is built with Next.js and React. Um, in this case, I mean, I'm just showcasing like client-side components, but Next.js can also allow you implementing APIs that allow you interacting with a database. Privy is what we're using for authentication and in both embedded and smart wallets. I'm not saying that you should use like smart wallets in your app, but I think it can give you like really superpowers. So make sure to give it a try at least because it can make like really smooth UX. Then we have WAGMI, and WAGMI we use it to read the balances on chain from smart contract as well as reading the Ethereum balance. Um, you can also like skip Privy and just use WAGMI. So there's a bunch of other, for example, another one that I use a lot to connect wallet is Rainbow Kit. Rainbow Kit is another like it's just like wallet connection, and then you can still use WAGMI to read and write transaction. In this case, like when we send transactions, we are using Privy. But in case you're using plain WAGMI with I don't know AppKit, maybe even on ShakeKit and the island we cover as well as Rainbow Kit, you can use WAGMI for everything, and of course it all works with Base. Among the tooling that we've seen, like related to Base, like we've been using Coinbase smart wallets, uh, which are also like beyond behind and below the on-chain kits that Dylan would show, as well as Coinbase on ramp that you can use on Privy for on-ramping, as well as the Coinbase, sorry, the Paymaster that I set up here. So if I click here, this is the Paymaster that is sponsoring us fees. Yeah, and then again, embedded wallets, they are like critical to onboard, Web2 people, but they are still limited in terms of like control and customization. While smart wallets, they are powered by on-chain smart contracts, so they can be customized. They can have like social recovery. You can set spending limits, custom plugins, but most importantly, like gas sponsorship is critical. Um, and then of course like they can be controlled by an EOA or any embedded wallet that you create for your users. Cool, Luciano. I think I covered it all. I'm not sure if you're talking, Luciano, but I can't hear you. So guys, please have a look at this repository, Builders Garden Next.js pre starter. Let me go back here. Yeah, I can't hear Luciano. Ta-ta-ta. Let me ping Luciano maybe on Telegram. Not sure what's happening. I mean, let me see if there's any question in the chat maybe. Thursday. Any issues integrating permissionless in React 19 for provisioning smart wallets with Privy? I don't think so, and but that's a good question because I'm using permissionless actually. Yeah. So to use Privy and smart wallets, and maybe I can share my screen again. Let's hope that it goes on stage. Yeah, I need Luciano to get it on stage, but Privy has like a documentation to implement smart wallets. Of course, they will ask you also to install permissionless. In this case, I'm using React 18, um, but I mean, never had trouble with permissionless and React. I'm not sure if like with React 19 something changes. Um, but I'm using permissionless version 0.2.41. Oh, you know what? Let me try installing React 19. Then install React 19. Um, Let me restart the application. Some dependency issues and yeah, I mean like the other thing I wanted to mention is that I'm Limone.it on Farcaster and Twitter. So if you have any issues with anything that I've shown, like feel free to ping me. So please also like share like these dependency issue that you're facing, but it just it's yeah, apparently it's working to me and I just like restarted the app with React 19 and permissionless 2.41. Any other question? What else can I show? Yeah, unfortunately, I can't share the screen anymore until Luciano gets back. um, I guess. Yeah, something I didn't cover is how I configured WAGMI as well, but it's a simple configuration, and by following the preview guide on how to integrate with WAGMI, should be pretty easy to set up. It's just, redundant with respect to the chains you described to preview. Then what else? No, I think I went through all of it. So yeah, thank you for attending today, and I wish you the best for the build-a-thon. My DMs are always open if you need any help, um, even with something more complex. What stack Farville uses? It's using the same actually. It's not using Privy, but it's still using Next.js. It's using WAGMI for contract interactions. Um, of course, like a bunch of other, it's a little more complex the repository. It also has like APIs and um, Postgres database. Let me have a quick rundown of all the tech we've been using. Farville. We're using, for example, a very powerful tool. If you're interested into integrating payments within your app, it's definitely like even DynamoPay. It's like pretty smooth to implement cross-chain payments and cross-token payments as well. We've been using it a lot on different mini apps. Um, we use Kustash and Redis for asynchronous and delayed tasks. So, for example, when it comes to sending a notification, uh, let's say on Farville, you plant a carrot and you need to get notified 4 hours later that the carrot is ready. We use Kustash, and it allows it's a queuing system where you can send a layered task. So you send a task to QStash asking it to execute a function in 4 hours, and that function will then send the notification to the user. What else we use? Nothing, of course, like Nanar. Nanar is if you're building with Forecaster, you should use Nanar, definitely. It has like a lot of APIs, like super easy to use to fetch data, even to write data to the forecasted network. We use Pinata for IPFS uploads, and yeah, I guess like that's pretty much it. Um, with respect to Altagers, if I want your advice about my frame, can I drop you a line on Forecaster? Yes, like anything you're building, especially if like me up related, I'm super happy to help. There are issues on Cloudflare with Privy. Why is that? Mike, what type of issues are you having? I've been using Cloudflare and didn't get any issues so far, but if you can share more either here on the chat or on my DMs, I'm happy to help. Any reason to use Redis over Mainnet for sending notifications? Uh, I didn't check if Maynard if they actually have an API to send notifications. I know that they have a dashboard that you can use to send notifications. Um, Probably if they have this dashboard, they also allow you to track some analytics out of notifications. So, okay, publish field time. Thank you, Dylan. Publish field notifications. So I guess like Uh, maybe the yeah, maybe if you publish it through their APIs, you also get like analytics around these notifications. While if you just use plain implementation like the one I was describing, you need to do it on your own. Luciano, you're back.
Increíble. Thank you so much, Limone.
My pleasure.
Oh, it's so incredible. I mean, so much knowledge to give. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, of course, of course. Um, is there any last words of advice you have for our 2B builders for base batches?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like mini apps are a great opportunity, especially if you're starting like building today and trying to get like attention and visibility and users out there. Um, I think it's like pretty relevant. I wish they were real when I was running between hackathons because a lot of hackathon projects I started they just end up being dust repositories because in the end it was like so difficult finding users. I think that for custom mini apps um, can really help. Uh,
I
you know,
yeah, I've really been driving home this conversation around like world chain, especially now that Zora has moved to base as well. So this is how I feel, Limone. Like I right now I'm incentivizing the entire community to centralize around a single L2, which I think is like the only path forward. And I think there it is a bit problematic, especially coming from like, one of the largest companies in the world already. Like we want to be more distributed. We I want to be more pro decentralization, etc. But like it's very obvious base is going to exist in the future, like whether we like it or not. So like we better make it like for the community, like that's why we're here, right? Like we want to make base the place for bottom up initiatives and for us to be able to not only build but also consume and use and play and all these other things. However, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to like the decentralization ethos. So maybe talk me off the ledge here, Limone. I don't even have a question. I'm just stating my current dilemma.
I I think I'm on the same position. But maybe that this is something that you know, of course, like for people that are feeling in the long term, it means a lot.
Mhm.
And you need to think more about this. But if you're doing an hackathon or like building a side project, I think it doesn't matter much. Like the most important thing is that you, in the end, build something and that people use so that first of all gives you more motivation in
Right.
like building it. At the same time, it helps you. They like these people using it. They really help you improving whatever you are building. And so these two things, you can get them only on Base and Forecast right now. Um,
Can you get
then
it? Can you get it on World Chain?
probably like yeah, like they have like great numbers. But what I'm saying here is that at some point maybe like this mini app of yours that you built, it becomes a standalone application, and you even decide to move it off chain. I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's just probably today the easiest and fastest way to experiment with a new idea. So for an hackathon, it's kind of perfect to me.
I think that's true as well, and I hope people heed your advice because it's true. Like for especially for something like base batches, it's perfect.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Dylan should be hopping on any moment now. And once again, thank you, Limone. I really appreciate you. You're incredible. Is there anything you'd like to say about Builder's Garden? Where should people go to go give you a follow, etc.?
Just play Farmville, I guess. Like enjoy Farmville.
It's a Farville shill. You hear this? Don't even go follow Limone. Don't go follow Builder's Garden. Just go play
Farmville.
Farville.
Just
You
play
heard it here
Farmville
first.
all together. Um, but yeah, again, on podcaster, Twitter, um, text me wherever you want. Happy to chat and
You
help
want to
you
give
along
the
the way.
live stream your phone number?
No, no, that's mine.
That's great. All right, so looks like we just had Dylan come in. So Limone, I'm going to say Auf Wiedersehen, ciao.
Ciao. Arrivederci. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. And once again, thank you so much. You're the best.
Thank you so much, guys.